So hey guys, it's ET. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a returning subscriber, that's great. If you're new, hi, my name is ET. I'm a third-year law school student and I study in Ateneo Law School. And this channel is about my life in law school as well as other things that I find interesting. So today's video is going to be about what is the best college or pre-law course that you should take before entering into law school. And the short answer is actually there's no best college course before you enter law school. So yeah, that's 1 minute. I'm ET and I'll see you tomorrow. Kidding aside, there's a reason why I said that there is no best pre-law or college course for law school. It's because law school is a great equalizer. Now, what do I mean when I say great equalizer? In law school, it really doesn't matter all your accomplishments before law school, where you came from, what your school was, if you got honors or if you didn't get honors or anything. Because once you enter law school, it's an even playing field for everyone. And I can tell you as much in my experience that college courses don't really affect your law school experience in general as much as some people would say they do. Now, it may give you an advantage at the start, maybe a couple of weeks since you know what the terms mean or you're more accustomed to studying the law. But the way they teach law in college or undergrad is very different from the way they teach law in postgraduate courses. It's a different approach all in all, and I'm sure that even though you say that you've studied law in college, it's a totally different experience once you're in law school. Okay, so why even make this video, ED? Since if you're gonna tell me that there's no best pre-law or law course. What I'm here to tell you is that I think there are a few skills that are necessary to be a good law student and eventually a good lawyer that you may find in some courses. And I've narrowed it down to 3 skills that I think are very important. So first is research skills. So a good lawyer or a good law student has to have good research skills. This is gonna be helpful for you when you're in practice already. So when you're trying to search for a law that your client needs, or you're trying to search if this law is conflicting with that other law, good research skills will do that. Now, the second is communication skills. So a lawyer has to communicate effectively what he has read or what he has understood to the client. So even if you're like the super smart lawyer and then you have all these laws in your head, the fact that you can't explain it or the fact that you can't get the message across will really hinder your memorization or even your skill at that level. So you really need to be good in communicating, whether be it written or verbally to other people. So the third skill that I think is very important for an aspiring law student or lawyer for that point is critical reading and comprehension skills. So as I'm sure you've thought about it, lawyers read a lot. In a week of law school, you're probably looking at maybe, I really can't say, maybe like 1,000, maybe 2,000 pages in total. That's even if you're reading the originals. But maybe I'll talk about whether or not you should read originals or digest in a later video. But for now, the fact of the matter is that law students really read a lot, and lawyers read even more at that point. So you also need good reading comprehension and critical thinking. So you have to not only read the things that you need to read, but also you have to understand the things that you read. So what are the courses that I think that have these skills? First off is history. So history will very much force you to read a lot of things, and you're gonna get equipped on looking for sources like primary sources or secondary sources, and you're gonna need to know what's a primary source, what's a secondary source, and then you're gonna need to know about the history of, because it's history, but you're gonna need to know a lot of things for you to explain how this event happened, why this happened, how this transgressed. So history in general, I think, is a good pre-law course if you're really moving into law school, if you really have your mindset that you really want to be a lawyer, then history will be a good course to provide the necessary skills that will help you achieve your goal. Now, another course that I would like to recommend is economics. So, economics is the study of how people balance resources, and basically it's the study of scarcity. So, economics in general is also a social science like history, and it teaches you how and why people make the decisions that they do. And in economics, also, there's a lot of research work, and there's also a lot of critical thinking and analyzing the data points that you will encounter in your economic study. Now, the another course that I'd like to recommend is philosophy. Now, philosophy, as well as we're going with the social science theme, is a very good course when you're talking about the skills needed for law school, because philosophy, first, it teaches you to read a lot. So you're going to read about Plato, Heidegger, you're going to read about all these great philosophers and their way of thinking. And then, just by reading it, you're going to have to get into these discussions on is this type of philosophy better, or does this philosophical thinking conflict with another philosopher? So you're gonna talk about phenomenology and all those complicated matters, which I really don't want to go back to. But yeah, it's a good skill that you might need while you're in law school. Okay, so another good course for law school, I think, that is gonna have you develop the necessary skills that I talked about before, is literature. So in literature, you're basically you read a lot, as is the theme of the other courses, and then not only you read a lot, but you have to write on these readings, and then you have to communicate effectively. And being a lit major, especially in handling recitations, I think is going to be better, because you're going to have to think about what the author's point of view was and why that matters. And you have to reiterate this not only to yourself but to your professors, and you have to make other people understand a certain way of thinking, which I think is very invaluable in the study of law. Okay, so another course that I'd like to recommend is political science. So political science, there's also a lot of reading, as you've guessed, and political science really teaches you how the government works and how politics in general is the system behind the politics, and why certain countries make certain moves, and how certain countries make the decisions that they do. And it's gonna really help a lot in terms of all of those skills as well, because you need to research different documents, and most likely international documents, which you in your law school study, and also in when you practice law, if ever you might deal with international law documents, which is going to be very important and going to be very fruitful for you. Okay, so another course that I'd like to recommend, which also has the necessary skills, but I think has a little bit of an advantage, is accounting. So in my experience, I have been classmates with a lot of CPAs, or as my professors would like to call it, chicken pork adobos, or certified public accountants. And I really think that being a CPA or an accounting student is somewhat a sort of an advantage in law school. I'm not saying that if you're going to be a CPA and you go into law school, it's going to be an easy road for you. But I think it's going to be an easier time, since the level of which they teach the law school subjects in accounting, I think, is very close to how they teach it in law school. And it's very annoying that my classmates who are CPAs get an easier time when it comes to certain commercial law subjects, like tax or negotiable instruments, because they've done it already. They know how it goes, and they've really studied. And they are certified public accountants, which has a greater deal, and they're really trained and they're really good. So if you're really dead set into wanting like a huge advantage, or I think for a college course entering into law school, I think that you might want to consider being a CPA. So last but not least is the management courses. So if you're legal management or like business management, I I don't necessarily think that it's gonna be a good course for you. It's because that those courses in general are aimed for students who want to do business and know stuff a little about the law. I don't know now how the curriculum has changed, so it might be catered to a more law school approach. But in my time, wow, shit. Okay, so in my time, it was more catered to students who wanted to do business and just wanted to know like the fundamental law. But I'm not saying that it's a bad decision if you chose legal management. I'm just saying that it's very different. The law, like if you study the law on sales in college, the law on sales in law school is gonna be the way it's taught and the way you have to understand things and the depth of the knowledge is very different when you get to the graduate level. So yeah. Okay, so special mention last but not least. So what if your course wasn't the one that I mentioned or recommended and you're in it now and you're in college and you're like, "What? No." All I can say is that it's okay because your college course doesn't matter. Like personally with me, I'm very close friends with my blockmate who is a certified geologist and he does like well in law school. So it really doesn't matter. So I've known people who studied for medicine and had like medicine undergrads, like they were BS Bio or they were life sciences, health sciences, and they did pretty well in law school. So it really doesn't matter what your undergrad was, but if you really want to develop the skills now, if you really want and you really see yourself in committing to this law school dream or being a lawyer dream, I think that the courses I mentioned are going to be the best bet to develop the necessary skills that you might need. Okay, so I'm sorry if that was a bit longer than the usual videos, but thank you for staying throughout. If you want to see another video, please comment down below which video you'd like to see, what concept or whatever. If you want to know more about my law school life or you want to see me studying in my readings, please follow me on Instagram. My name is @baconsilog, so that's @bacon, so BACONSILOG. And yeah, send me a message and I promise to reply to every message that I get on Instagram. So yeah, so thank you for watching and I'll see you next episode. Bye!